Hello and a very warm welcome to the Entrepreneurial Edge. I'm Chris Bishop. Now, the travel business is a tough one in these recessionary times. Now, back in the day, a very long time ago, I studied an economic theory that there was a correlation between carpets and travel. The theory being that many people viewed them in the same light as long-term, large spending decisions. One school of thought said in the tough times, people cut out holidays and travel and bought carpets because at least it was something they could see. Now, this week's guest is an entrepreneur who has made millions out of convincing people to stick with the travel. We're talking to Johanna Mukoki. She's the founder of a travel company, Travel with Flair. Now, like most people who come onto this show, she saw an opportunity many years ago and seized it with both hands. She's here to tell us how it's done. So just to start off with, Johanna, welcome to the program. Just give us in a nutshell. Now, you're corporate travel, isn't it? Still affected by the recession, as we said in the intro. But just give us how have you survived these difficult times, and what's sort of your business?
We are in corporate travel predominantly and do have one leisure office. But I think that the difference obviously between leisure and corporate travel, people still need to travel for business. Yes, they might downgrade from traveling business class to economy class, so that has obviously helped us to keep our heads above water, having most of our clients come from the corporate side.
Now let's talk about you and your background. Now, you grew up in Orlando, in Soweto, in South Africa. What sort of a childhood did you have?
I think I had a very colourful childhood, perhaps, let me put it that way. Raised in a family of 4 siblings. I'm the second born of the family, and parents had minimal to be able to manage and afford raising 4 kids. So my mom used to be a school teacher, taught at the same school for 38 years until she went on pension, and my dad used to be a bus driver, and then later on in the years then starting building the 2 rooms and garages. I think anybody from Soweto would know what that means. And us as children, we obviously had to chip in. I think the early pictures and memories of my childhood is of me selling I guess ice cream under the bridges at Baragwanath Hospital. I will tell you when the visiting times are. That's how that's how it was.
And how old were you then? What sort of a child were you? I mean,
very talkative, I guess. My mother would say that I'm only quiet when I'm asleep, and my siblings, who are very quiet, always tell me that, because I have a daughter now who can hardly keep quiet as well, and they say, yes, you've gotten a bit of you and some more. So, but I guess I was a driven child as well. Obviously, realizing the hardship that we had as a family. I even told my mother when I was 11 years old, after I was sick and tired of being used to be able to go and sell and sell. I mean, even when we came back from school, my mother used to have these boiled eggs that she would make and send one child that way down the street, and I'd go up the street to go and sell and bring money home. So I guess from a very young age, I knew that one had to be able to work to be able to earn. And I told my mother when I was 11 years old, and she still reminded me before, even when just before she passed away, that of all her children, I'm always the one who had told her that I will work so hard and make sure that I never have to experience such hardship. And I think that's probably the story of my life, because with everything that I've done it to the best of my ability, just to be able to ensure that I can be number one.
It was very tough when you were young. I mean, myself, when I wasn't much older than you, I dug fields and cleaned cars to buy my books to go through school. So, but you must have learned something in those early tender days about being an entrepreneur.
I think I learned a lot. I think while you're going through the motions of being made to do labor as a child, you never understand how that helps you, I guess, in your later life. Then I didn't understand it, but now I fully appreciate it, I can tell you that. My mother obviously was very strict as well, so we never had too much street time. You know, you play, and before your mother is back, you're in the house, washed and ready to go out in the streets and sell, looking pretty. So that's the short version. But I think even through my schooling career into my varsity, I've always tried to excel. I do 120%. I never give 100%. Even my staff will tell you, I say, I don't want you to be able to do good. I want the best out of you. And that's what I've always given. And I'm very proud to say as well, I pulled straight A's at school. I worked so hard, maths, accounts, straight A's. My teachers will be able to tell you. Even at university, I studied at Rhodes. I'm an accountant, I'm sure you know by training, and was the first black person to ever tutor accounts. Obviously, I blew the grades out of the waters, and that's how it's all, you know, just to be able to ensure that you excel so that you can be 2 or 3 steps ahead of any competition that might be around.
When you were growing up,
Yeah.
what did you want to be? I mean, really, in your dreams?
You know, I actually wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor, but I think as I got older and I realized that I cannot stand the sight of blood. you know when your stomach feels like it's on your toes at the sight of blood because you get very weak. Then I realized that maybe that's not a profession for me. I wouldn't want to be a doctor and pass out on a patient while it's it's open on a table. So also, I actually was drawn into the accounting field by being chosen. There was a school called Pace Commercial College in our younger days where they took all the kids that came out number 1 in all of the public schools, and they went then to start this school, which was a brilliant school, had teachers from the UK, from America, etc., that came to teach at this school. Some of the stuff I did in my matric, I did in second year at university. That's how advanced these guys were. So, and it was a commercial school, so I had no choice but to be able to start commerce. And I think that I was gifted there, you know, because I used to get 100% in accounts. I used to ace my maths. So I think in a way, I was lucky enough to be able to find my gifts at an early age, because, you know, if you do well in a particular subject, it obviously means that you have the smarts for it. So, and with business, I mean, it always at the end of the day comes back to the numbers, isn't it?
Sure.
So if the numbers make sense, we're all good to go.
But one surprising thing is you went through all this academic, this rigorous study, and yet one of the early ways you made money was being a beauty queen.
Oh yes, you see, when I became a teenager and developed a bit, I realized that selling in the streets was obviously getting a bit much for me. So I decided to model. I was the first one in my family to
What did your
do
parents
modeling.
say? I mean, they were hard work people.
Let me tell you, my mother and father, especially my father, used to drive us to every single audition that we had, every single beauty pageant. He was, and even some of the kids that their parents would drop off there, they said, Tate Makhalemele, you look after our kids, and he'd go and drop off everybody. He was a constant factor. You know, it doesn't matter if it's a beauty pageant and it comes out in the afternoon, in the night, he's there. If there's a TV shoot, he was always there, sitting there, making sure, and if there's little skimpy dress, and he'll tell them, okay, how do you want it to sit? And he's the one who's fixing. So really felt safe, and it was beautiful, and I really did well. Hey, I did well as a...
It helped you gather money when you were studying, but also after you left.
Yeah, I had quite a bit of money. I mean, I was telling someone as well, when my mom passed away, there were some documents that we went through, and I found a letter that she had written in red that said, to me, that said, thank you very much for all your modeling money. It really helped the family a lot. And, you know, I mean, you do a TV ad and you get paid a couple of thousands. And in those days, it was a lot of money. So I say, if I work one day, I can be able to make enough money for us for at least 8 months. So it was good. And I enjoyed the time. And I guess obviously, you know, in terms of the public profile as well, it started then. But I realized as well that, you know, good looks don't last too long. So I needed to be able to get my academic side up as well. And she sent me down to Rhodes, making sure that I'm away from all the glitz and glamour. And I'm glad I did that.
So when you came out of Rhodes then, how was the transition then to becoming an entrepreneur, being your own boss with Travel with Flair, your company?
I did my articles at KPMG, then it was called Aiken and Pete, and I was still doing continuity on Mnet, and I'd have these headhunters calling me with job offers, and the next week it doubles, it triples, and I thought to myself, I mean, can you believe it? If somebody out there thinks there's so much value in me, then maybe it's better that I invest in me and start something that would benefit me, and hence I decided then to be an entrepreneur and never to get employed. So.
But what was that epiphany, that opportunity you saw, we talked about in the intro, that made you an entrepreneur?
I think I was, well, with Travel with Flair, I was approached by these two fabulous guys that are still my partners 16 years down the line, who loved to travel and wanted to start a business and was looking for a hard-working black partner that they can be able to do business with. I say that advisedly, but and I was more than happy to be able to get into the travel space, because I knew that I was not going to be a grey auditor, auditing all my way through life and ticking people's books. So we met and we had meeting of minds. We had the same objectives, same business values, and we started Travel with Flair. Let me tell you something. There was only 3 employees we had back in 1996, and I'm proud to say, at least to date, now we have just over 550 employees, and I have branches in the most of the major provinces within South Africa. So it was the best decision that I've ever made, and I love to travel and I've seen the world, so I'm working the passion.
And how humble were those beginnings when you started?
Oh, let me tell you something. You know, for a year, when you cannot be able to pay anything, you have to pay your staff first before you can be able to pay you. And difficult as well to be able to go in and raise finance and nobody knows you and will not give you the time of day. It was very difficult to be able to start a business, and let me tell you, it's no picnic. But I've always said, if you're willing to put in the hard work and you are willing to keep on keeping on, even at the sight of failure, you know, the people that have made it in life, if you ask them, they have fallen 100 times, but it's how often they've gotten up that has helped them to be able to see that silver lining. And I'm one of those people. I mean, for a year and a half, let me tell you, we didn't have any salaries. We were running around town. Thank God I still had my money as well that I had made for my modeling career that I had to live off. But I lived a very humble life, and from my humble beginnings, you know, it was okay to be able to go without much. But you know, years later, at least now one can be able to sit and smile. But it's no picnic, I continue to say. I continue to do the hard work, and I'm 24/7 in my business, deep in the trenches with the team. That's the magic of the game.
And your first office, just describe it. Just going to talk more about your business in the second half. What was it like back in 1996?
Oh, let me tell you, we had this green and brown striped 3-seater. All of us, 3 of us, having one office and all the chairs around it, you know, a little, I mean, it was, if you know, humble. We still have our green couch though, because I said it needs to be able to remind us of the humility and the hard work we had to be able to experience to be where we are today. And as a result, you know, I'm one of those people who are really happy with little. I'm one of those who are grateful even for the sunshine that shows today. And
all right, we're going to do a lot more about your business in the second half and how the mighty have risen in your case. It's time for a short ad break now. We'll see you right after this. We're talking to Johanna Mukoki, the MD and co-founder of Travel with Flair. Stay with us.